Hey guys, how's it going? Ezekiel the Barber back with another hair vlog video for you. This is today's client. He likes to do a one taper fade with a comb over on top. Today I'm using the Oster Octane Clipper with a one metal guard. So we're gonna start our first guideline using that one metal. So we're just gonna set this guideline all the way around from left to right, as well as the back. We just want everything as even as we possibly can. Now, I really like the Oster Octane. I mean, this is really a beast. I could use this pretty much all day in the barbershop. Comes with the charger, but as far as staying charged, you know, this is really a really good and nicely designed clipper. I mean, this thing is a beast. So I like to put my metals on there and also kind of, you know, flick that hair out. You want to always make sure you pull that ear down to keep the blade away from the ear. I've seen a lot of people in my career where, you know, they can get that ear. So you just want to make sure that you get nice, clean guidelines, everything nice and smooth. Just let the clipper do the cutting. Once again, this is a one metal clip or guard that we're using, whatever you call it. So we're gonna set this first initial guideline all the way around. Now, once everything starts to look pretty even, pretty smooth, then I would say it's safe to go on to the next step. Now, keep in mind, you know, this is always a work in progress. So I like to cut to a look. So even if, you know, things look okay, I'll go on to my next guideline, and I know that I could come back later at the end of the cut and just polish things up and make it look, you know, make everything come together. So you don't have to be too perfect on setting your first guideline. So now I'm going to the next step in my fade, which I'm using the 3 guard. So I'm using the Wahl clipper, Wahl 5-star senior clipper. This is the only corded clipper that I have in my arsenal, by the way. I mean, this clipper's a beast. It's really quiet. I've loved this clipper for years, so this is a mainstay with me here, definitely. So I'll just take that 3 guard and use the same strokes that you kind of see me using now. I'll start flat. Once I get to the top, I'll pull out. So I don't want to dig into the top. I'll rather clipper over comb that later. So for now, we'll just use this guard and stay really flush against the head and pull out once we get to the top, just like so. And we'll just make sure that this guideline is really clean as well. That's looking pretty good here. All right. So we'll just get the rest of this hair that's here. Now notice that I'll use my comb to kind of get out any hair that I want to keep, any hair that I don't want to touch. Just a really good technique for not messing up, ensuring that you cut whatever you want to cut and not what you don't want to cut. All right, so this is looking pretty good here. You know, once again, on your guidelines, you want to go north, south, east, and west. Hair grows from every angle. You just want to make sure that you cut from every angle just to ensure that that guard is cutting the length that, you know, it's supposed to. Everything is nice, smooth, even. We'll do this from left to right. I'll use that comb, keep the top hair out. Now, of course, you don't want to go too high to the top of his hair. So we just want to stay kind of in the region that I am now. Just keeping everything nice and smooth. Okay, so that guideline is set. So now what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the 1 guard and I have my clipper lever all the way open. And that's the furthest away from the steel blade. So I'll just use this guideline and I'll set my guideline anywhere from 1/4 inch to about an inch wide. So this is basically my 3rd guideline. We set, you know, the 1 guideline, the 3 guideline, and now we're back to an open 1 guideline. So the bottom line that you see after I'm setting this guideline, my initial next thing that I want to do is take out that bottom line, that hard line. And the way that I do that is once I start with an open clipper, when I set my guideline, I just literally close that lever all the way like I just did and attack that line like I'm doing now. So I'm just attacking that hard line, just making that blend start to take its course. So we'll just work right at that hard line. Sometimes I'll grab the 0 guard. Sometimes if the one's not cutting enough length off, then you just have to grab the other guard. So I'll continue with this 1 guard. Right now, I'm opening and closing the guard. I'm attacking the bottom line. So when you attack the bottom line, you close the clipper. The higher you get to the top of your guideline, you're gonna open your clipper. So you don't, when I set my guideline an inch wide, you don't wanna go over that inch. That's the height of, where I wanna go with that guard. So now I'll basically open and close my guard within the guidelines, trying not to go over the guideline that I just set, which is about an inch wide. We'll save that for the next guard that I use, which is either my 1.5 or my 2 guard. Right here, it looks like it's my 1.5 guard. So I'm gonna use that 1.5 guard all the way open. Now with this 1.5 guard, I could use it all the way open, which basically I can get a 2, and then all the way closed, I'm using a 1.5. So I could basically get a 1.5 and a 2 all while using this 1.5 guard. Okay. So now, eventually I'll put the 2 guard on, and you'll see that I'll use that 2 guard all the way open. And then I'll attack basically the range where I use my 3 guard. That's what it looks like I'm doing now. I'll do this all the way around from left to right. Now, it looks like the blend's already coming together. So after I, start bringing the cut together, I like to kind of do my skeleton work, start, outlining the lineup, the sides of his lineup. Now, this client in particular likes to do a bald fade into this one. So he won't square it off or do any points on the side. So we'll basically get rid of any hairs on the bottom here and bald that in. So we'll just do, little bald along the surface here. We won't go too high. I'll also set the back guideline for his lineup.
ThunderCatzent.
So right now I'm using the Andis cordless trimmer. Really good clipper. Love this clipper. You just want to go really smooth all the way around. Always let the clipper do the cutting. You just guide the clipper. Have a really soft touch. So the fade's starting to come together. I want to keep everything even. Whatever I do on the left, I like to do on the right. Vice versa. All right. So we're gonna start and set his first guideline. He has a lot of hair here. He wants to take quite a bit off. So I like to find out where they want to be. So I'll give them the mirror. I'll wet the hair a little bit. He's telling me he just wants to basically keep his hair out of the eyes. So we'll use another technique and just basically gauge it from here, from where he doesn't want his hair in his eyes at. So once I find that, I'll pull it up, cut there, bam. So we have it, okay? So I'll take that guideline and I'll just follow that throughout the rest of his haircut. Okay, just like so. We'll pull that hair up and we'll cut it. Find the guideline, cut the hair. Take your previous guideline, match it, cut the hair, boom. We'll find that guideline and we'll do that all the way around from, back to front, front to side. It really doesn't matter. Once you start your guideline, you could pretty much follow that guideline wherever you want. If you want to go left, if you want to go right, if it doesn't matter. The biggest thing is find your guideline and then keep all the hair as even as the guideline that you set. boom, we found our guideline, everything's getting cut. It's just connecting the dots. So I like to take a portion of the guideline, which is towards the back, find the new hair, which is towards the front of my hands, and just connect that, cut that hair out. Just as you see here.
ThunderCatzent Entertainment.
Pull that hair straight up and cut. Pull that hair straight up and cut. Okay? As you can see, you know, everything's looking pretty even so far. You always want to, you know, go back and cross-check your work. There's still a few uneven spots that I have to go over. Boom, we'll connect those. We'll connect these. Bam, there it is. We'll find the other hair. We'll connect those lines. Just connecting those guidelines all the way around the hair. So you all get a chance to see firsthand, you know, kind of how I'm achieving the look that I'm achieving, where we started at with the haircut. Now I like to use the blow dryer to keep any loose hair and debris out, see what's been cut, what hasn't been cut. Sometimes if the hair gets too dry, you definitely want to spray a little bit of water in there. So far everything's good. So the hair that's basically sticking out from the sides, from where we, you know, we're just trying to make everything neat. So I like to take the comb, and where we set our previous guideline on the fade, I want that to fade into the top. So those little hairs that stick out, I just want to take those out of there. Bring this fade together even more, make things look, you know, really clean, really smooth. Just make everything a really nice transition. Now notice my comb is really thick. I like to use a really thick comb. It kind of takes away from, you know, giving people bald spots. Definitely don't want to do that. If you use a thin comb, sometimes you could take too much hair off and it, you know, insinuates a bald spot. So with a thicker comb like this, I've learned that it's just, you know, more error-proof. So it's just basically my preference, and it's all preference. So I like to, once again, use that comb to keep what I want, get rid of what I don't want, keep that out of the way. Any hairs that stick over the side of this fade or this comb, I just want to kind of clean that up. Now haircuts are just like life. It's always a work in progress. So, you know, though things look chaotic, you just have to work at it. And, you know, I like to cut to a look. So if things don't look good, I'll continue cutting. I'll continue doing things until it looks right to me, looks right to the client. So we'll just work at it. Chisel at the haircut, clipper over comb. I'll go back to certain guards, like, you know, if we already used the 3, I'll use, you know, the 3 guard back in the zone where I used the 3. I'll go back to the 1 guard where I used the 1. So in this case, I have the Babylis 2 guard on with the Wahl 5-star senior clipper. And I'm just using this in the same place that I initially used my 2 guard. So I don't want to go too high into the zone where I use the 3. I just want to kind of clean up everything in this zone where I use that 1.5 and the 2 guard. That's basically what I'm attempting to do now. Just clean everything up, make everything smooth. Just make everything a smooth transition. Now, the more you cut hair, you'll get used to the length that the guards provide as far as what it looks like. You'll be able to identify, well, that might be a 1, or that's, of course, a 0, or that's a stubble look, or that's about a 3 guard. So that really helps when you cut hair. In this process, I'm just attempting to line my client up. I'm using the Andis Pro Line 2 clipper. This clipper is okay. I decided to try this clipper out. Not a bad clipper. I initially went back to the Babylis, which is definitely one of my favorites. Either the Andis or the Babylis cordless trimmers are pretty much my go-tos, what I prefer. Everyone has their preference, but this is just what I prefer. Just from, the blade type, the way it cuts, the durability, what it allows me to do with the clipper. These are just my clippers of preference. So I'll set his lineup. I'll take any little fuzzies off of his forehead. Right now, we're just doing his lineup. I like to keep the lineups really natural. You don't have to go too hard. Just let the clipper do the cutting. You guide it. I like to take off any hairs that stick off around the side, anything that, any hairs that are kind of in no man's land. I like to follow the natural lineup, but just kind of insinuate the haircut, make things look really clean with those clean lines. And since my client normally does a comb over, I like to comb the hair in the direction that they like to normally style it. In this case, he likes to do a comb over to the left-hand side. So I'll just comb the hair in that direction. I'll clipper over comb any hairs that stick over his haircut, transitioning from the side to the top. That's basically what you see me doing here. Just cleaning up any of those hairs. I like to basically clipper over comb with a Wahl 5-star senior. This hair really gets through a lot of terrain, as far as if people have gel in their hair, if people have really coarse or tough hair. This clipper to me really does the job, as well as an Andis Masters. But normally this is really my go-to for cutting off a lot of bulk, is the Wahl 5-star senior clipper. Once again, this is the only corded clipper that I have in my arsenal. I really like, to go cordless, but if I have any corded clipper, this would be my preference. Just really durable clipper. So I'll use my clipper over comb technique. Any hair that's stuck over the side from when I combed all of his hair over like that, I just want to get rid of that, get that out of there. Now, if this client wanted to do like an undercut, of course I would save that hair and we'll, texturize it. We'll save that for another video, but in this case, he doesn't want any hair sticking over the side. He wants everything nice and tight. So we're just basically gonna clipper over comb that in and make sure that's a nice smooth blend. All right, everything's pretty much coming together, looking smooth. As you see, I'll put that comb in there and then I'll pull out. The reason why I'm pulling out is because that shows me how much hair I'm attempting to cut. So, once I see how much hair I want to cut, I'll just cut that. Now, as you can see, I just combed his hair over in the front. Whatever hair looks like it's in no man's land, I just got rid of that. Just want to make sure everything's, really smooth and clean. Once again, I'm going back to the 3-guard. So I'm using that in the zone where I use the 2 and where it transitions into the top of his head. So I'm just using that 3-guard a little higher just to smoothen everything out. Any hairs that stick, up in the back, I like to kind of get in there, roll that into that top a little bit. Not too high, of course, just smooth everything out. It's looking pretty smooth here. Everything looks like it's coming together. Once again, I like to cut to a look. So if things start to look good, I'll just clipper over comb a few areas where hair sticks out. A lot of times in the back, a lot of clients have issues with their cowlick area. It just really grows quick. So a lot of times I'll take that, pretty tight just to give them a little bit more length on the haircut. And then for my finishing touches, I'm using the Babylis trimmer cordless clipper. I just like to do all my finishing, polishing work, the lineup. We're pretty close to being done with this haircut. So that's basically what I'm doing now. Just lining everything up again, really light touches, going around, just making sure my work is clean, even. Just making sure everything looks right. It's looking pretty good there. I noticed some hair back here that I wanted to get. So right now I'm just, attempting to freehand get that hair out of there. And then once again with my clipper over comb, just any little hairs that I see out of place, I just want to get those as well. So last but not least, I like to You know, once everything else looks pretty good, I'll open up everything, take the Santa strip off, and then just literally start to clean up the neckline. Get all the fuzzies out of there, really light touch. This is a really sensitive area. So we'll just get everything out of there. Looks like everything's pretty good to go here. All right, perfect. All right, well, thanks so much for tuning in, watching another video. I'll definitely have more content. If you learned something today, hopefully you like and subscribe. We'll definitely be getting you some more content on how to do these types of haircuts, haircut vlog videos. Looks like everything's good to go here. My man said. All right, till next time.
ThunderCatzent.